Welcome to Spiritual Truths with your host, Kerry Marie. I'm delighted to have with me today a lovely lady, Carissa from Studio Pilates. Carissa owns two Studio Pilates, one in Silverdale and one in Cumu. She's going to be talking to us about the benefits of Pilates that can help you physically, mentally, and also emotionally. Carissa shared with me her spiritual truths. Was all about karma, she believes, and what you put out truly comes back to you. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe. Also, turn on your notifications so you know when a podcast is coming up. Blessings and love, Kerry Marie. Hi, Carissa. Hi, so good to see you.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so I just love Pilates. I go to your Studio Pilates, and that's where I met you.
Yes.
You had this Hell Week on, and I was new to Pilates, and then I decided to take on this challenge. And then you just happened to be in the studio when I met you that evening.
Yeah, it was really great. I think that was at our wrap party, wasn't it?
Yeah, your wrap party. So that was great. And I just love Studio Pilates because I just love the service that I get. The girls are so friendly. They're really helpful as well. So you told me a little bit about your journey when I met you. So you can just tell us about your past, how you got into Pilates.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I come from a corporate background, and I guess after COVID, I had corporate burnout, and I closed down all my companies one day and decided to do something different. So I took a 9-month career break.
So you had your own companies?
I did.
Oh, right.
Yep, they were in the education sector.
Wow.
And there, when you're in corporate, it's long hours, it's lots of seating, high stress. It's not very self-serving. And just on the end of COVID, with bringing businesses through COVID, I was just really tired, stressed, unhappy. So I had a bit of an epiphany one day. I closed down my businesses and sold part of them, and decided to do a 9-month career break. And during that time, a girlfriend of mine said to me, come and do some Studio Pilates. Prior to finding Pilates, I was not a big exerciser.
Really?
Bit of a self-confessed couch potato, if I'm being honest. And so I was quite hesitant at the beginning, and she kept on encouraging me. So I went across to Studio Pilates in Takapuna, did an orientation workout there, and the rest is history. I think within 3 weeks, I came home and said, I'm going to open some Reformer Pilates studios. And my husband at the time told me I was absolutely crazy because I don't like fitness. And I said, I do now, and I believe in it. I'm passionate about it. If something can make me really passionate about it in a very short period of time, I believe in that, and I want to be a part of that. So about 12 months later, we opened our first studio in Silverdale.
Fantastic. So you're quite an entrepreneur, aren't you? Obviously, you've got that entrepreneurial brain about you.
I do.
Yeah, so you're always looking for opportunities. So what is it about Pilates that you love so much?
There's so many things I love. In terms of my personal Pilates practice, I love that it empowers me. It sets my day up well. I know that I've achieved something. I'm leaner, I'm stronger. It's better for my mental health. In terms of having a group of Pilates studios, I love the sense of community. It's one of the biggest joys of having the studios is watching people feel empowered by their workouts, people creating friendships at the studio, and just everybody supporting everybody else in an environment like that is huge. That's what gets me out of bed every day.
Right. So Studio Pilates is something, it's a franchise, obviously. So is that somebody else can invest in one or open up their own Studio Pilates? Is that?
Yeah, it's actually an Australian brand founded by Jade Winter, who's a former Olympic swimmer, and he founded Studio Pilates in Brisbane. It's quite a big franchise now. There's over 100 studios globally. There's studios in the UK, US, New Zealand, China, Canada, and obviously Australia. And there's about 8 studios now here in New Zealand, and about 5 in Auckland, with myself having the Silverdale and the Cumu studios, with 2 more on the way.
Oh, 2 more on the way.
Yeah.
Oh, whereabouts?
We're going to do one in Hobsonville, and we are just debating whether we do Mangaway or Warkworth for the 4th studio.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting. So it's interesting for someone that gone to Pilates myself. So one thing I noticed about studio Pilates is that I didn't look around anywhere else because I just love the way that it worked. I just felt, even now, I walk in and it's just totally uplifting. The reformers are great. I love the way you had the orientation, and your staff are amazing. That's what I love about it. And I love the way it's so good the way you got all those screens around everywhere, and has that you got your studio instructors going around, and because you can feel quite vulnerable when you're doing Pilates.
Agree.
Yeah, and so they're very kind and uplifting, and I just found is that standard for all studio Pilates? Because that's something, having all those screens up, having warm, friendly staff, and the communication and the different types of workout. Is that sort of standard for all the studio Pilates to work like that?
We follow a format in terms of our workouts. As you know, they play on the screens, and there's 60 different workouts that we use. I believe our studios are very warm and welcoming because I never found a place where I felt comfortable working out. I tried many, many different gyms, different, fitness formats. And when I went to Studio Pilates in Takapuna, I felt welcomed. I felt like I had found my place. So when setting up our studios, the most important thing for us was creating that sense of community. We really believe that our place is safe for everybody and anybody to work out. We've got clients of all ages, shapes, abilities. We're trying to remove the stigma that Pilates is just for women. So we have quite a high male participation in the studios, which is really great. I think people love having somewhere they feel safe and non-judged to work out, and see that there's just normal people just like them working out, trying to be fit and strong, and improving their lives. And I'm lucky that we have such an amazing, gorgeous, welcoming team. They are really my strongest asset with the studios, and really just fortunate to have an amazing group of people behind what we do.
Well, I sort of pick up on energy quite a lot, and the energy in your Pilates studio is so uplifting. Honestly, it's so uplifting. And I like the thing about including men, because I really want to take my husband along.
Nice.
To that evening, and I'm still trying to get him along. And I think I'm going to get him along when we get back from travel.
Perfect.
Because there was other men there, and he spoke to, was it Leon?
Yes.
Yeah, is Leon your partner?
Yes,
Ex-partner.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So he spoke to him, and I think that spoke to John, that and he saw other guys there as well. And I said, other men do it. It's just not just for females.
Yeah. I would say about 15% of our clients are males, and once they see other males there, they're more comfortable in order to do that. One of my hardest working clients is he's based up in Matakana, actually, and he drives down 5 times a week from Matakana to work out.
Not the English guy.
Stu?
Yeah, I see him.
Sorry, Stu. And he's just so amazing and committed. But the first time he was meant to come to his orientation class, he didn't turn up. And I rang him and said, Stu, what happened? And he said, look, I turned up and the class was full. And I said, no, it wasn't full. Why don't you, talk to me? What's really going on here? And it turns out that he was just feeling a little bit overwhelmed by being the only male in the orientation class. So I went through and said, look, we've got this one coming up. I can actually see another couple of males in there. Why don't you come to this one? You'll feel more comfortable. And I mean, you've seen him in the studio now. He rolls in like he owns the place. He's very charismatic, very charming. He's very much found his home. But he just needed that little push to get through the door. And I think when we allow the people the space to do that, and we, get them to do their orientation workout in a space that feels right for them, there's no turning back for them after that.
I felt really hopeless after my orientation. Absolutely thought I have to do about 6 orientations to get the hang of it, to be honest. But I think one of the blocks for men, as it sounds silly, is what do you wear?
Right.
Yeah, what do you, but anyway, go back to the orientation class. The lady was so encouraging. That's what I found, because I said, oh, I need to book in about 6 orientation. She said, you're fine.
100%.
So yeah, don't get put off with orientation class, because you'll be fine after that, because you're learning this machine, isn't it? You feel really silly. But yeah, that was a block for my husband. He said, what do I wear to Pilates?
Yeah, most men just wear at the moment track pants because it's nice and cozy, or some shorts with maybe some bike pants underneath.
Yeah.
There are times when we do have our legs up in the air, so something a bit tighter fitting is always better.
Yeah.
So hopefully have a chat to him about that and he can get over that little
I might
block
talk
and get
about
in.
the tights. It's an interesting one. Okay, so one thing I want to ask about talking to you is that Pilates has been around for a long time. So what is the difference between like this normal 4 Pilates and one on the Reformer? What's the difference between the two?
Interestingly, I'm only Reformer trained. I'm not mat trained. I just got back from Bali a few weeks ago and I did a couple of Reformer classes over there, and it was a really humbling experience for me. It's a very different style of Pilates. It was more traditional than studio Pilates. You know, our Reformer Pilates is fitness based. It's a beat driven workout, so it's a lot faster paced than traditional Reformer Pilates. So we took it back to basics and did traditional Reformer Pilates, but we also started off with mat Pilates as well.
Yeah.
And having not done a lot of mat Pilates and being mat trained, it used different muscles again. It was really challenging and humbling to have done Reformer, almost daily for a few years now, and getting taken back to basics to find out how hard it really is. Yeah. So the difference is obviously we're using machines, we're using springs as resistance.
Yes.
Whereas mat based, you're just using your body as your resistance.
So there was some resistance. So you're building muscle, and it's good for your joints as well.
Yeah, Reformer Pilates is amazing for joints. It's a relatively low impact workout. It doesn't mean you're not getting a good workout. It's a full total body workout, but it's low resistance. We're not jumping up and down. We're not out on the streets running.
Yeah.
So Reformer Pilates is fantastic for anybody, but in particular people that have any injuries, any joint pains. We focus a lot on core strength, all of our muscles filled off
Our core.
Yeah, off our core. So having a strong core is really, really important for all of your body, in particular your back as well. A lot of people have lost a lot of their core strength from doing too much sitting, especially over COVID, and we just rebuild that core strength, feed all those muscles off that. And a lot of people have huge improvement in back pain from doing Reformer Pilates. We can basically cater to any kind of injury. And we can either, if someone has a particular injury, and we've got so many different injuries at the studio, we can reduce their springs, we can slightly modify the exercise, or we can swap it out. We're trained to swap it out for any other type of exercise to make sure that they're not aggravating that injury.
No, they're really good like that, because I've had a few little issues and I've just said to them, they just change things around, which is really, really good. So one thing I was going to ask you about, so people go to Pilates for different reasons, don't they? So sometimes do they do it to lose weight or body sculpture or just for their health?
Everybody's there for a different reason. We've got people that are rehabilitating injuries. We've got ladies that are wanting to lose weight. We've got professional athletes that are just lengthening and strengthening their muscles. What happens if we do too much of one thing is our bodies become familiar with that particular type of movement, which is why professional athletes will add Reformer into their workout routine, because we focus a lot on smaller muscle groups and also all of the muscles connecting together and working together. So if you're doing like F45 or something and lifting quite heavy weights in that, it's often short reps, heavy weights, focusing on just one particular muscle, whereas where Pilates is perfect for finding all those little muscles and using them, and that's why people feel sore often after their workout, because it's those little muscles we're not using day to day.
So it helps you with your strength as well.
Yeah, it's going to improve your strength, flexibility. We do a stretch class a couple of times a week.
I want to do one of those. Before I go on a plane, I want to do that.
Yeah. So that's focused just on stretching out those muscles, which we don't do enough of.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many benefits. One of the big benefits, and we have a lot of people come, is just for mental health reasons.
Yeah, I know. That's what sold it to me. You know that? Because I went because my daughter, I listened to a podcast about flexibility, and I realised that I was losing my flexibility, and that's like really important as you mobility as you get older.
Yeah, for sure.
And she said to me, we need to do Pilates, or I had done yoga before, but I decided to give the Pilates a go. Like I said, I did the orientation class. I felt such an idiot, if I'm honest, but your staff was so lovely. He said, oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And what did it for me, it took me about 4 classes, and I got to this 4th class and I had this euphoric moment.
I love that.
It was like, you're euphoric. And I just feel incredible. I feel amazing. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. It's like, I don't, I feel so relaxed. Everything's in perspective again. So I found that mentally it was so good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many mental benefits.
So many, yeah.
Exercising releases endorphins, and that makes us feel good. So whilst we might feel like a struggle to get there in the morning to do that exercise, for sure, we've all been there, we've all felt that. But when you're there, you're releasing these endorphins and you feel so much better for it. We really promote just taking 45 minutes of you time several times a week, because we don't do it enough, especially as mothers. We're always focusing on everybody else and we're not focusing enough on ourselves. So sometimes Pilates is just about 45 minutes of you time to focus on yourself, because we do breath work as well. You're connecting with your inner self more through the breath work. There's so many parts to Pilates that you have to put together. Sometimes you're pushing on the bar, you've got your feet in the straps. What's your T-zone looking like? How's your spinal position? And are you in the correct spinal position? Are you breathing right? So there's so many different components to it that it allows people to switch off entirely from everything that's going on in the outside world and focus just on what's happening within their body for a short space of time. And we don't really get any other opportunities to do that throughout the week. So I think that's how it is so good for people's mental health.
We're so connected.
Yeah, you really are connected. Often we have people that will break down and cry on a reformer, and it's not the workout that they're crying from, although it hurts. It's just that release of letting go of whatever they were holding on to in that moment. And people always feel a bit silly afterwards. They're like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what came over me. And we just reassure them, actually, it happens all the time. It's not just you. This is part of the process.
I can relate to that when I do readings. That happens. People break down. They always feel really silly. And I say, no, it's perfectly normal. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't know why they're just releasing that. But I think this connection to the body is really important, because I was seeing a supervisor at one point, a psychologist, because with my work it's quite deep and people got lots of really big problems that I'm dealing with. And so I had a supervisor. And she said it was so important for me to do some sort of exercise, because she said you can connect to your physical being, connect to your body. It brings you back together. And she said that's really important to do that. And that's what you're saying is happening with the Pilates. And also, I love the breath work. I think that is just, with your nervous system, that's so good for you, isn't it? That breathing is so good for you.
It really is, yeah. It's clinically proven to reduce stress in your body. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is to do with the breath work.
Yeah, so when some people obviously want to look better, they want to come to sculpt their body. So does it work for that reason, like for sculpting your body?
Yeah, a lot of dancers. So Pilates was founded by a man actually called Joseph Pilates, but it was created as a rehabilitative type of exercise. It got picked up really early on by dancers because it's really, really good for strength, but also it elongates your muscles.
Right.
So it does give you that lean appearance over other types of exercise. So a lot of people will come to tone up. We've seen people that have had massive, massive dramatic changes in their body.
Really?
And it's just from Pilates, yeah.
Really? Not other exercise, just from Pilates?
100% from Pilates, and they've just completely transformed their body. Everybody's really different, and obviously exercise is just one part of your lifestyle. So we are not qualified to give any sort of nutrition advice whatsoever, but we always encourage people to eat a healthy, balanced diet outside of the studio if they want to see results in terms of losing body fat percentage or looking leaner. So yeah, some people are coming for that to complement what they're doing.
Yes.
Just take 45 minutes of them time. And some people are just come because they've built a group of friends and a sense of community where they are in it, and they feel safe and they enjoy it.
I come for all those reasons. The other thing is that I find particularly good about it, it's over and done within 45 minutes. And it's just so, it goes so fast. It's like before you know it, your workouts, I think, oh my goodness, it's on a 45-minute workout. And it's just fantastic.
It does go really fast. Sometimes when I'm instructing classes, I get to the end and I say, guys, this was literally 45 minutes. I'm sorry, it only feels like 30, but
It does, yeah.
the timer's on. It's nice to be able to get in and out of somewhere in 45 minutes as well, because we do, time is a huge factor for people not prioritizing their exercise.
All like this time point. And the good thing about instructors is that they keep you honest. So they come around and they say, actually, you're not doing that quite right. Oh, we're cheating a bit. No, they don't say you're cheating, but you are. Well, sometimes maybe you don't even know in your head that you're cheating. Your body's just cheating. You know what I mean? And they come and, well, maybe you're not safe the way you're doing it as well.
Yeah.
There's two things there. Yeah.
You mentioned the TV screens earlier, and
Yeah.
the great thing about Studio Pilates is that it's being such a big franchise is that they've invested into the SP TV system. So people have come to us and said, I'm hesitant in coming to your studio because you've got screens and I don't like the sound of that. I want it to be more personal. What they don't realize at the time is it's more personal because we have the TV screens.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so the screens allow people to see what the exercise is, and the voiceover tells everybody how to do the exercises. So that frees us up as instructors not have to show you how to do each exercise, which majority of the other studios do. And so our time is free to correct and enhance you for each and every exercise. It's a really hands-on workout. Lots of touching going on. I think I've touched the most butts, women's butts in my life. And so being able to be hands-on lets us, make sure that you're correct, your techniques are perfect. Sometimes it's as simple as we tend to tuck our pelvis in when we're doing our glutes. And by doing that, we're taking the pressure off our glute, and it feels better when we're doing it. It hurts less, which is why we do it. So we'll tell you to tilt your pelvis out or poke your bottom out behind you. And that's just making sure that you're really working into that glute muscle.
And those pulses, they kill you.
The pulses kill you. Yeah. It's a very hands-on workout, and our job is to make sure that you're getting the most out of that 45 minutes. And that's why we will keep you on your toes, tell you to poke that booty out, making sure your T-zone's on, those kinds of things. I noticed that. It's what it keeps you honest. So, because I used to be an aerobics instructor, and I trained through AUT, and I found that people were doing things wrong or dangerously, and you couldn't really stop the class and go over and see them. You just sort of look at them and keep repeating. But I just find that personal touch. I love the screens because you really watch somebody and you follow them, and you know how to put your position, and it's fabulous. Some of our clients might be hard of hearing, or they might have learning differences where they process things visually differently visually. So that's really important that they've got that 3-tier approach of having the instructor, the TVs, and the voiceover, so that they've got that wraparound support and doing the exercises effectively.
The other thing I really love is your system. I wasn't sure at first until I got used to having the app. It's fantastic because you've got your whole profile there. You can see how many passes you've got. You can see where your bookings are, and they go to your Outlook calendar, which is fantastic. And you can just book them so easily, or cancel or transfer. Or I went on a waiting list this morning and they got hold of me and said there's one available.
Oh, that's so cool.
I just love your system. I think it's just so user friendly, and I like it as a business model as well, because somebody said this morning, because you've only got 12 hours that if you cancel within that time you lose it, which is fair enough. And I think it makes that commitment, because someone said this morning, I don't want to lose my money. So I can't get my money back, which is fair enough, because you're booking a machine.
Yeah, that's correct.
And it means somebody else can't get it, so I understand it. So actually, it's a really good system, but it also makes people committed as well.
A lot of people ask why we don't do weekly memberships, and we're not a gym. We've all had a gym membership where we just donate every week and never go because no one's there holding you accountable. with our system, you pay for
Yeah.
it, and if you don't use it, you lose it, which is one of the great things about our short challenges as well. That the
Yes.
pack that you purchase for the challenge is only valid for that challenge. Nobody wants to pay for something they're not using. So I actually
Absolutely.
think it's
Yeah.
another tool to get people
It
there
is.
into the studio working out, because nobody wants to waste money these days. So
No,
yeah,
no.
it is a good system. If you don't use it, you lose it, and
Yeah.
therefore you're going to use it.
And I heard someone say this morning, I said, oh, I didn't want to lose the money,
Yeah.
which is really fair enough. So I really love your system. It's just really easy. And there's car parking as well, which is always important. Okay. What else I want to say? So the other thing is that I like to say is that I think we just sort of touched on it a little bit, but I feel what's really important is some people feel really vulnerable, and I know people would love to do it. I know someone who's probably worried about an injury. And the second thing is someone's worried about being overweight. So how can we sort of say to people, it's okay, we can help you with that? Because someone said, I'm too big, I can't do it, that sort of thing, or my knee's too bad, or...
Yeah, we spend quite a bit of time talking to clients on the phone before they come in, because some people do feel really, really hesitant. The challenge is getting them in the door the first time, and as
Yeah,
soon as they walk in the door, they know that we're a safe space, we're very nurturing. The way that the studio is set up is to make you feel safe as well. Like, I like to think of it as a womb. You go into the studio, it's all enclosed, there's no mirrors, there's nobody looking in at you. And in fact,
yeah,
when you're lying down on your reformer, you can't see what other people are doing, because you're
no,
focusing
no,
on yourself and what you're doing. You can't see what springs anybody are on. So if someone is feeling a little bit hesitant, I would recommend just calling us and understanding that we are just regular humans that want good outcomes for people. We want people to feel safe, nurtured. Our studio is for everybody, and once they get there and see that there's people of all ages, shapes and sizes, I think that's really helpful. Sometimes I've just directed people to our Instagram page and said, have a look on our Instagram page so you can see the real people that are at our
yeah,
studio.
yeah,
I know they go to the main Studio Pilates landing page and see the models that we've got
yeah,
on there, and everybody's beautiful, and we always direct them back to our studio and be like, these are our clients, they're just normal people that want to be fit and strong just like you.
yeah,
So I guess my biggest piece of advice is just be brave enough to get your foot through that door,
yeah,
and we'll take care of the rest. You'll find your happy place. And
yeah.
anybody with injuries as well, just be upfront and honest with your injuries, and we will modify whatever we need to for your
Yeah.
workout to make you comfortable.
Yeah, and you have these special socks too, don't you? I didn't really understand the socks. Like, oh, you need
The
these
grip
socks.
socks,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Grip socks are great. They just elevate your workout, because sometimes we're standing, we're often pushing with heavy weights on the foot bar.
Yeah.
It just gives you that extra layer of grip. It's not some gimmicky sales tool. And personally, I don't think you could have enough Pilates socks.
No,
We have a
I
little
love them. I love them. I'm my accessory. Yeah,
we have a little joke at the studio how many
yeah,
pairs of
yeah.
grip socks each of us have, and I must have 50 different pairs of grip socks.
You sort of get addicted to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. So people do Pilates. So do they do other exercise along with Pilates, or they can just do Pilates, or how
It
do you see
depends what
that?
people are trying to achieve. If people are just trying to maintain their strength and they're happy with, how their body looks, 4 sessions of Pilates a week is all they do. A lot of times people will combine it with a bit of walking.
Yes.
We find people choose Reformer Pilates because it is low impact. So we don't see a lot of people that are out there running.
Yes. Yeah.
Those kinds of high impact
Intensity. Yeah.
types of exercises. And some clients will combine it with perhaps some other classes at F45
Yes.
or things
Yeah, I
like
noticed
that.
that some people do quite a bit of exercise. They do everything. I don't know how they fit it in, but some people, yeah.
Yeah, some people have a lot of time and energy to devote, which is amazing. That must be so nice. If you don't have the time, 3 to 4 sessions of Pilates a week is perfect.
Yeah.
We have some older clients that are in their 70s
I've
and
seen
80s.
that. I've seen the older ones there. Wow,
And they're
amazing.
just there once or twice a week, just trying to maintain that functional movement as well. And for them, that's enough.
Yeah.
And we allow them to take it at their own pace, and whatever springs work for them. I think that's the beautiful thing about Reformer, is that it really is for everybody, every age, every gender, every
Yeah, it's wonderful.
everything. Yeah.
So you have these challenges as well, don't you? I love that. Tell us about the challenges that you have. They're fun.
Yeah, we've got several challenges throughout the year. We've just finished Hell Week, which you said
Yeah.
you did. 10 classes in 5 days is quite the challenge. And I believe the majority of the challenge in that one lies in the mental aspect of it.
Yes.
It's more of a mental challenge. But you feel so great after you're doing it. So many clients believe that they can, and the sense of empowerment that they get at the end of it is huge, knowing that they were strong enough to do it. I love Hell Week. It's my favorite challenge of the year. At the moment, we're doing an Amplify challenge, which is a 6-week challenge. You commit to doing a set number of classes over the 6-week period. There's a specific pack for it. Again, if you don't use it, you lose it, which is one of the motivators of getting people there. And we combine other types of things, other types of workshops throughout Amplify as well. So we have a nutritionalist that will do a talk on nutrition.
Wow.
We have a lovely lady coming in next Sunday, and she's doing a talk on building healthy habits. She's a life coach. We do technique classes so people can come in and focus on those little exercises that they can't quite get right, or they might need a bit more advice and support on. And we do some yoga as well, just to bring back that mindfulness as well. So it's a 6-week challenge. A lot of people will get body scans before and after, so they can track their progress over that. We have a body scan machine in the studio, which is great. That gives a total breakdown of their body fat, their skeletal muscle mass. It even goes into like their proteins and minerals and things. So that's really helpful. And it's great for people to be able to mark themselves at the beginning and the end of the challenge. It doesn't sound like a lot, but we've got people that are changing 3%, 4% of their skeletal muscle mass or their body fat percentage over a 6-week time frame, which is huge for a short 6-week
And what's
period.
the mineral thing about that? Sounds really interesting.
It's a basic breakdown of the protein, the water, and the minerals that are in our body. And it just gives us information, very basic information, and again, not nutritionalists. So we can just say, hey, look, if you want to increase your muscle mass, your protein is a bit low.
Right. Okay.
If you eat more protein, some people's minerals are down, which shows us that they're actually not eating probably enough food.
Right. Really?
So it's a basic insight into what they might need to fuel their body with over that challenge
That's really
period.
clever, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a clever machine.
Wow. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you now is a different question altogether. So, as you know, I'm Spiritual Truth. That's the name of my podcast. Yes. So everybody has some sort of spiritual truth. It doesn't have to be religious or spiritual. But what would be Carissa? What would be your spiritual truth or truths?
I believe in, I guess you'd call it karma. I believe that what you put out into the universe will come back in some shape, way, or form.
I love that.
Yeah, and so I think the more goodness you do, that's going to get returned to you. And yeah, and sometimes karma can also kick you in the butt if you've not been a particularly good person. So I just believe in empowering people, lifting people up. I'm a firm believer that you can be successful without it being detrimental to other people. Yes, we often see people that are very successful, but they'll tear people down around them to do that. And I don't think it needs to be that way. I think we need to empower people to be their best selves. I think you'll see that with my team. My team is so beautiful. I'm so lucky to have them. I empower them to be the best that they can be. And I think the more good things you put out into the universe, they're going to come back to you eventually.
So I can see that you're living your authentic self. That's what it seems to me. So you're living your authentic self because you decided this corporate world wasn't for me. It's not who I am anymore. I've changed. I mean, maybe it's taught you something, I've learned something, but now I'm fulfilling myself with a passion that I love, and also I'm actually helping other people with this.
100%. I love getting up in the morning and knowing that I'm changing people's lives by offering a service. Ultimately, they're the ones that are doing the hard work, but we're giving them the safe space to do that, and people are changing their lives because of it. So many of our clients have just told us stories about how their lives have been completely changed, and it's so nice to be able to do that.
In what sort of way?
just mental health has improved. It's got them through, the death of a parent. We've got one client who has completely cured her IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and that is not one of the things about Pilates that I've ever heard before.
Wow.
So just changing so many lives in so many different ways.
Wow. So physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's so nice to be a part of that. And coming from corporate, you're there to meet people's needs and do a job or sell something, or it's all about money. And what we do is all about changing people's lives through fitness, and it's amazing to be in that space because it's not somewhere where I thought I would be 10 years ago. So it's completely changed my life as well.
Because anything to do with the bowel, like irritable bowel syndrome or Crohn's disease, all that sort of thing is quite connected. I believe your bowel is connected quite to emotions
a lot,
and anxiety as well. So I'd sort of say if with the calming and the mental attitude and the release of all that sort of thing would probably help with that sort of thing.
And it did for this one client, and it wasn't until then that I guess it made me realize how connected our nervous system is with that, and how Reformer Pilates gives us that space to connect with our emotions, our breathing, our nervous system.
Yeah, I haven't seen a grumpy person at Pilates yet. But how do people get hold of you? How do they book an orientation class or find out more about you? How do they find you?
Yeah, if you go onto the Studio Pilates website and choose a studio that's nearby to you.
Yeah.
I personally have the Silverdale and the Kumeu studios. Like I said, I think our studios have an amazing sense of community, and I'm really proud of that. So jump onto the website. We do a new client intro special, which is 6 classes for $60.
Yeah, which is great.
It's going to give you an opportunity to try us out with a relatively low investment. And see the changes for yourself. And if you're worried, the biggest thing is just making that big brave step of picking up the phone and giving us a call and realizing that we are just regular humans on the other end of the phone that want to help you, and then get your foot in the front door that first time.
So I think also don't discover it the first time. I'd suggest that for me. I was a little bit unsure after the first time.
Okay.
So I would suggest to people that just keep on giving a bit more. That's why the 6 for 60 is really good. Because it wasn't until the 4th class, so that's and something just sort of clicked inside me. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming.
You're
I
so
really
welcome.
Enjoyed it, and I hope we get some more clientele coming along and people get positive results from becoming part of Studio Pilates.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.